Well, Thailand, that's the best place to be right now, this time of night. How's it going, guys? I don't care about the music getting flagged. I'm not going to monetize this. So when I'm hanging out in the shop, I like to listen to music. So just kind of in the middle of a project here, I thought I'd try to go live. Why not? I know it's, was it Wednesday? So this is my, listening to some classic rock right now. That's Wheel in the Sky, Journey. It's just radio playing, so it's Seattle radio station. I'll turn it down. What digital meter is that on the bench? This one? This is, it's called Serpy. The reason I like it is because it's got a little stand and the numbers are really big. So I just like big numbers. It's easy to see. I can just leave it set up. So it's not a really fancy one, but it does the trick. And I've got it set up right now to measure temperature because I'm working on something that requires temperature reading, and I'll talk to you about that in a second. Oh. So Jorge, you're in California, right? Southern California? The Who? It's Journey. Hey. All right. Yes. Okay, that's what I thought. All right. Commercial on the radio, I'll turn that down. All right. Beer is empty. Need another one. Explosion. I like to pour it in this cup because it keeps it really cold for a long time. So that's what I'm going to do. There we go. A little bit of a mess. All right. We got beer in the thermos cup. All set. No. Mike says, what do you think of diesel heaters? Any experience? No. Sorry, Mike. What beer is that? So Jorge. It's a Blue Moon Mango. I found these a long time ago. You know, I like Blue Moon, but then I found this mango wheat at, I think it was at Walmart once. And so I'm going to try it because I like mango. And I really like it. So whenever we go to the store, we see it, I always grab some. So that's what I'm drinking right now. Al, any new upgrades to the motorhome? Not so much. I did put a new solar panel on. I put a 170 watt solar panel on the roof. I replaced one of my last 100 watt flex panels. So this is a 170 watt sun power panel. So you'll probably see that in an upcoming video. But yeah, I really like it so far. It's much bigger, fills up the space that I needed, and gives me probably over 600 watts on the roof now. So it's pretty cool. So Ernest says, what's up? Well, I was just down here in the shop working on a little project, and I thought I'd just go ahead and hit the live stream option on my phone here. So basically I'm live streaming on my cell phone, and I'm looking at the comments and stuff here on my little laptop here. So this is just the laptop It's not the one I do video editing and stuff on. It's just a small portable one. It's kind of like a little. It's not an iPad or an Apple or an Apple laptop, but it looks just like it. It's an Asus, yeah, and it's really lightweight, and it's got a little what you call it, solid state drive in it, so it powers up really fast, and I like it. And it's just easy to grab and go and use. So I keep it down here in the garage sometimes with me, or when I'm sitting out on the deck in the sun working, works out pretty well. So yeah, I'm hanging out in the shop, and what I'm working on is just this little project that I figured, hey, while I'm working on this, why not just live stream this, and we'll see how it goes. Because I was going to make a video about it, and I figured maybe I'll just live stream it instead, and it might save me some time. And so here's what I'm working on. So I have, you've probably seen, I have this solar compartment in the RV, and it's got those 3 Victron charge controllers in there. And it's now that it's summertime, when we're out in the southwest or in the warm weather, it tends to warm up in there. Even though I have a couple of vent holes on the side of the compartment, I've been wanting to install a fan inside that compartment that'll kick on and be triggered by a temperature level. So that's what I'm working on now. It's just kind of a little hack, but I picked up this little temperature switch on Amazon. I've got a couple of them, but I've been experimenting with a couple of different ones. And the whole idea here is that I can adjust it. So this is what I like about this one, and it's only about $10 for this thing, so it's pretty cool. And I'm going to use one probably for my battery bank compartment as well. Yeah, it's a thermal switch, and so I can take this little screwdriver and just turn this little resistor here and adjust the temperature to where I want the fan to cut in. And it has oops, it just came out. So I haven't installed it yet, but I have it set up for right now for about 90 degrees. So it should kick in if the temperature gets to about 90 degrees in there. So far, I've seen the temperature get up to about 100 degrees in that compartment. And when that happens, I typically open the door and it cools itself down. But that's only been when it's been really hot outside. So right now it's on. Let me connect this sucker back up again. It popped out. I'm going to put this in the normally open position here. So normally the switch is open and the fan is not running. So when it hits the temperature, the fan will kick on. Pretty basic setup, but that's what I'm doing. So I've tried a couple of different switches. The first thing I was trying was maybe something you might find in a furnace, and I'll show you. So I've got these other. You can buy these little temperature limit switches that you might see in a furnace, and they're preset to a specific temperature. And this one, I think, I don't know, is set to like 80 degrees or 90 degrees, and it'll cut off at a higher temperature. So I was testing this, and I was going to use this at first, but what I found is that they just stopped working a lot. So I'd use it, and then it would die. So, and the other thing is that I can't adjust it. So if I wanted to change the temperature when the fan kicked in, then I couldn't do it with one of these. So I'm not going to use this. I went back to using these instead. So that was my first plan. And I got this fan. I've got a bunch of fans. So there's a bunch of these. Here's another one. And I've got several. I'm going to reach over here. Sorry. Yeah, so I've got a few of these different fans that I just picked up from various places. When I will maybe take apart before I toss an old computer or something, I'll I'll take it apart and salvage it for some parts. And I take the fan out, I'll take the power supply out, and I may not keep the power supply, but I'll keep a lot of the wires. So all of this stuff that I'm using, aside from this guy here, the little thermostat switch, this is all just scrap stuff I picked up from other projects. So here's an example. I'll take a bunch of wires from some piece of equipment and I'll cut out all these little wires and I'll just keep them because I'll use them in another project. Yeah, here's a bunch of little wires from an old PC. So yeah, I just kind of organize them, keep them for later. You never know. Here's something cool I pulled out of an old UPS, and this is actually a 60 amp little fuse. So, and it's got a couple of nice leads that are attached to it. A little 5 amp circuit breaker. That's pretty cool. Here's another little circuit breaker that I might use. This is a 20 amp. This is a 20 amp circuit breaker. So keeping these around in case I might need it for a project. So anyway, back to this. Hey, Louis, good morning. Yeah, you could use it for heating blanket. Was it Rudy? You could use it to trigger anything that's temperature controlled. So, I'm not sure how many amps you'd want to push through this, but this fan is going to only draw about 0.2 amps when it runs. I have a smaller one that barely draws anything, but I wanted something like this too that's going to really pull some air through that compartment. So let me show you how it works. I have it set up here, so it's not quite installed yet, but I'm going to make it fit in this little box when I'm done. It's kind of a little hack. I've already drilled some holes and stuff. So here's the idea. So I got this fan. It's going to be mounted pointing outward on one of the vent holes in my compartment. And it's hooked up to this little temperature switch. And you find the temperature probe. There it is here. So attached to it, it's look about 24-inch piece of wire, and on the end of it is this little temperature switch. So temperature sensor. And let me turn this. So I got my meter on. Let me select. Okay. So I got to set the temperature on Fahrenheit. So you can see right now it says 79 degrees. So yeah, it's 79 degrees right now. And so if I have this tweaked right now so that it should kick on at about 90 degrees. So that's what I'm doing is I have it hooked up to a power supply right now. So I'm going to just set this like so. And you should see, oh, you can't see that. Let me put it back here. Here's the fan. All right, so let's simulate this thing working. It's got a little red LED light on this. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little red LED, and which means it's on. So where's that temperature thing? So in theory, I'm going to just put my hand around this. I'm going to use the temperature probe from my my meter. And I'll just use the sensor and put it right next to each other. I'm just going to put my hand on it. You can see the temperature starting to climb up to 85, 86. I'm going to drink a beer while I wait. That's good. Okay, 88, 89. Okay. Come on, warm up. I'm going to blow on it. Hot breath. In a moment now. Here we go. 90 degrees, kicked on. You hear that? Oh, this will cool myself down. So fan's on right now. So when it gets below that same temperature, it should turn the fan off. So I'm going to take my hand off of this now, and I'll just let this fan cool it down. Okay, see, as soon as I took my hand off, it dropped below, and fan just went off. So now it's temperature's dropping, 86. So yeah, pretty cool, huh? So yeah, so that's basically the idea here is to be able to adjust this when I need to, but that's how it works. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put this together, and you guys can watch, and maybe I'll just chat with you at the same time. Oh, Tito Danino says, "What's Tito short for?" It's not short for anything. It's Tito. And my name's not Tito, so if you guys who know anything about the Tito thing, I'm not Tito. Tito is actually our little, I guess it's a mascot. We keep him in the car. He originally just, it's a little bobblehead thing. Actually, you guys want to see Tito? I'll go get him because he's in the other room. Just a second. Okay. There's Tito. So the story behind Tito is that, if you don't know it already, is that when I originally was coming up with this RV blog over 10 years ago, we were looking for a name, and we figured it was kind of like the Travelocity gnome thing was popular then. So we said we need our own kind of Travelocity gnome kind of guy, and we're going to put him on our dashboard. And this is what we use, this little Hawaiian dancing guy, since I'm part Hawaiian. And he needed a name. So at the time, one of my daughter's friends said, "Hey, why don't you name him Tito?" Because there's this this show, I think it's cartoon on TV at the time called Rocket Power. And there's this big Hawaiian guy on the beach, and his name was Tito. So that's how the Tito started. And we have a little Tito now, which is a smaller version of this guy that's still on the dash. But right now, the original big Tito usually stays here in the shop. So I'll put him right up there. All right. I'll put him there so you can see Tito. There you go. Tito on the saw. So that's the story of Tito. You want to see what's up his skirt? There you go. He's got some cool undies. Check it out. Tito's got some Aloha underwear. There you go. He doesn't mind. Got some on the back too. Woo! Okay, now you've seen Tito's undies. So, all right. I'm gonna just work on this, and the other thing that I wired up here is that I have this little box, and this is just a little metal box, and I'm gonna use it to put this little circuit thing in here, and I've already drilled some holes for a switch, and this little round one here, I'm gonna put this little this other switch here because it's such a small compartment. And I had this little LED light, and it's dark in there, so sometimes it's later at night, and I can't see what's in there. So I have this little LED light, and I wired it up to the same 12 volts, so when I press the button, light comes on. So I'm just going to wire it to that same little box in addition to that thermal switch so that I can just reach up in that compartment. I'm just going to mount this to the top of the compartment, and then I'll also have a little button where I can turn it on and have a light. So that's what this little round switch hole is for. And then the other wires and stuff are going to go in the side. And I'm going to hot glue this thing down. So if you guys want to hang out with me while I do that, that's what's up. So hope everything's going okay. You guys, summer is going okay. Ours is going pretty good. I don't really need this right now, so I'm going to move this aside. And now that I have this all wired up, I'm going to disconnect a few things and actually get to wiring this up. So I have the cable is about yay long. It's a small compartment, but I wanted enough wire length between the fan and this little controller to be able to mount it anywhere. So again, I use this little connectors from the computer cable, and these are just little pin connectors, so a little positive and negative. Nothing to them really, but yeah, came in pretty handy for this little project. Hey, go Rocket Power! Love that show. Yeah, my kids used to watch it. Yeah, it was kind of funny. We were on it was way back in the day. We didn't really, texting was just kind of a thing. And we were out camping in the RV, and we were with our kids, and my daughter was texting a friend of hers while we were hanging out, and we're like, "Hey, we're trying to come up with a name for this character," and it was her friend that said, "Hey, how about Tito from Rocket Power?" So it stuck, and then eventually the website became YouTube, and then the website's still there. So that's the story, and now you know. There's this little switch here I'm going to use to be able to turn the temperature switch on and off. So I'll turn it off when I don't need it, and then when I hit the road, I'll turn it back on. So, what's up? Hey, Jim from Minnesota. I look like Tito. Okay. Do I? Oh, it's hard to work when it's so quiet. So I'm going to turn on still commercial on the radio. So I'm going to listen to commercial. So you guys want to see, I'll give you a quick shot of the setup here. So I got my power supply right now hooked onto there. There's the computer over there. There's me. All right, get this situated again. And this is all on a little tripod. So I'll point this down. You guys can kind of watch what I'm doing. Sorry, I got to adjust this little tripod. Screwed up and move things. How's that? I'll get it a little closer. All right. How about a little closer than that? All right. Sorry, I'm just adjusting things. Sorry, I hope I'm not getting you motion sick. All right. Okay. Yeah, sweet, Ernest. Yeah, that's pretty much the same idea. Jim says, are water heaters interchangeable in 30-foot campers? Ours sprung a leak. I don't know. It should be if you can find the same water heater. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to disconnect a few things here. Now I'm going to get it all wired up. So I got this fan. I'm just going to disconnect it for now. Set it aside. I'm going to turn off the power supply. So there's a little LED on here that stays red when it's powered. And when the temperature kicks on, there's actually, it's hard to see, but there's actually a little blue LED here. And it turns blue when the temperature switch kicks on. So if you guys are still hanging with me, I'm just going to work on this stuff, and I'll answer a few questions along the way if you have any. Here we go. Okay, so here's my power. I don't mind some music. Just sit in there like that. Step out now, and I will leave the volume knob. So I'm going to put these little wire connector things on the side so I can just have a place to hook the positive, and I'm going to put the negative one on the other side like that. So make it easier to wire up. Hot glue, man, does the trick. So I got my negative here. I'm just going to put that on this side, I guess, since there's a better spot. I guess I could put it over here. I don't know. Yeah, I suppose I could. Let me think about this for a second. I'm going to put it over here. On this side. So a funny story about 38 Special is when I was in the Navy, I rented a room from this woman in Jacksonville, Florida, and she would, she's an older woman at the time. Now she's younger than I am now, but so she had a son, and so she would rent, she had a 4-bedroom house, and she would live in one master bedroom, and she'd rent out the other rooms to service members. And so I rented a room from her, and then she'd make dinner and stuff every once in a while, and sometimes she'd talk about her family, and she showed us a family picture, and it was her and her older kids, and she said, well, I guess you could probably tell which one of my sons is in a rock band, and because he was standing in the back and he had long hair, and we're like, yeah. I said, what's the name of the band? He says, oh, I don't know. It's like 38 something, 38 Special. We're like, 38 Special? You guys heard of it? And we're like, of course. It's like, yeah, he sends me tickets to his concerts and stuff, but I don't go. We're like, just let us know next time and we'll go for you. So it's my 38 Special story. All right, so I got this thing glued down here, the temperature sensor, and I got the negative. I'm using these little splices, going to be like a little bus bar. I put a little red piece of electrical tape on the positive one, and this is going to be the negative. I've already got the positive and negative wires coming in here, and I've figured out what I'm going to do with the other end, because this is ultimately going to connect to my main battery bank bus bar, and it's going to power this whole thing. So if you're just joining me a little late, sorry didn't get caught up, but I know there might be a couple you just jumped on. I'm creating a little temperature controlled fan to keep my storage compartments with electronics cooled down. So it's adjustable, and I have it set to like 90 degrees. So when it hits 90 degrees, you should kick on the fan. All right. Another guy. Hey, Hunter Tech. 9 a.m. Where are you at? Oh, Northern Germany. Well, hello. Julian, how's it going? All right. So it's going to go like that. I'm just going to leave this top off because I want to keep it cool. Now what? So I need to run a positive and a negative to this point here. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to cut a couple of ends off here. Need a positive here. Oh, and one's going to go to this light LED. That's right. All right, so let's just use this short piece. Oh, I'm gonna leave that one. Okay, I gotta go find a little wire. I got a little wire bundle, a little red for positive, a little black for negative. I just need to jumper it from here to this spot here. So let's start with the negative. It's going to go in there just like that. Strip one end here. Get my fingers in there now that I glued that down. There we go. Oh, no, it didn't work. Okay, that one's in there. It's going to go to that point there. All right, this goes into the DC negative. Where's my tiny little screwdriver? There it is. All right, and do the same thing with the positive. Strip this side. Stick it in there. Hey, from San Jose. Mustafa. Up late in San Jose. Okay, so got this other one here. It's going to be my positive power line going into the DC positive terminal there. Cut it to length. Hey, this is going to save me a lot of time from having to do a video about this, but I don't know. We'll see if I keep it. And it might be pretty boring for some people to watch this whole process, but if you guys are still watching, then why not? Okay. So let me know, is this boring? Just thought it'd be an experiment to just kind of do a live stream from the shop, but pretty much just working, and it's late at night. But yeah, let me know if this is boring, if you'd like to do this again. Check it out. So I got positive coming here, negative coming here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to connect it to the power just to make sure it's still working. I did that right. Okay. So positive and negative. Turn on the power supply. Okay, I got a little red. I don't know if you can see it. It's really small. It's a little red LED right there. If I turn it off. Oh. Okay. So it seems to be working. I haven't screwed anything up yet. All right. Sorry, I'm just kind of thinking this through. I've got my temperature sensor probe. So that's this wire here. And that I'm just going to stick it through one of these holes. For now, what I'm going to do is, since this is kind of a little sharp little metal piece, I'm going to put a little electrical tape around the wire, just where it goes into this little can, just to keep it from rubbing up against it and, you know, scraping the shielding off of this wire. There you go. And I can insert it back in there. Probably a little more snug. Oop. Of course, where I put it, it's not where I need it. A little bit more. All right, that should do the trick. There we go. When I'm all done, I'll probably put some more hot glue in here, just kind of secure all these wires, because hot glue does the trick for just about anything. All right, so it's hooked up. Power's hooked up. Now, let's see, what do I got to do? So there's a normally open here. So what I'm going to do is I need to hook up this this little switch, this little tiny little switch that's going to turn this thing on and off. And I have it going through this little hole here. So I'm going to have it inside the compartment so I can reach in and turn it on. Okay, so that's going to be on. So here we go. Little switch. All right, I'm going to glue this switch down in place from the back. There we go. Just a couple of dabs should do it. You see that? Hold it in place. When I'm all done, I may actually paint this whole thing black, but it's really out of sight. It's only I'm going to see it, so it doesn't really matter. All right. All right, little switch. So that's going to be wired into here. Oh no, actually, I wanted that to be my power switch. So let's see. Aha. Backtracking here a little bit. I want this switch to be my power switch. So it's going to go like that. So this one that I put in here is going to actually go. Let me take that out. So the power is going to go in and out. Okay. I'm going to wire the switch into that part, and then the power from that will actually go into the power input for this little controller. Okay, that's better. And I don't need that wire anyway. Okay, so here's what I got now. The whole thing is switched now, so I should be able to. So I still have it. Let me hook the power supply back up. So now if I turn the switch on, yeah, I got power. Turn the switch off, on. Okay, so that's there. Squish those wires down a little bit. All right. Yep. Yeah, Mustafa, I know I thought, I always kind of fly by the seat of my pants sometimes. So, originally I did a live stream a while back, and I thought I'd do this more on a regular basis, but I'm usually just doing so many things a lot all the time, so it's kind of hard to stick to a schedule. And plus, we're on the road sometimes. In fact, we're going to be heading out in the RV again on Friday, so we'll be gone for a few days, probably like 6 days maybe, and then back home. All right, so let me see. All right, we got the temperature switch. Got my temperature probe. I'm going to stick that out this side here. Temperature probe. Okay, temperature probe just sticks right there in that little spot. Just going to stick it out that hole. Okay. So I got my temperature probe, got power. Still works. Yep. And what else we got? So this is going to hook up to the fan. Okay, so the output to the fan is going to go here, and that's going to be wired into, all right, I got a negative. That's what I want. All right. So this is going to be the power output going to turn on this fan, and wire that sucker in right now. I'm going to take this through this little hole here. Reach in there and get this stuff. All right, you guys still with me? Hey, 17 people. 17 people either don't have to go to sleep or I don't know. All right. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to shorten this just a little bit. So the wire's a little long. So the negative one I'm going to put into this negative terminal here. A little AC/DC. She was a fast machine and she kept her motor clean. She was a fast machine. All right, negative. Positive goes to here. Okay, so the output to the fan, I'm gonna wire this positive wire, which is actually the one that's going to be switched, and that's going to go into this. I don't know if you can read it, but it has a normally open and a normally closed output. So I got power coming in here. This is just the jumper coming from the positive side coming in, and then when the temperature switch switches, it's going to. What I want it to do is turn on power to this one. So it's going to be normally open, and it's going to close this when the switch activates. So that's where I want it right there. And we'll test it here in a second just to make sure that's correct. All right, so I got my output to the, tidy this up a little bit. All right. And negative. I don't want these wires to be strained at all, so I'm just going to make sure there's plenty of slack in here. Okay. It's getting a little messy. So I'm going to put this on real quick and give this a test. So we have this little box that's going to, right now, have a little switch on it to turn it on. And now what I'll do is connect the output to the fan, this little plug right here. All right. So let's do that test we did earlier. And I'm going to use my meter here to, where's the temperature probe? There it is. So I got the temperature sensor here and the little box here. I'm going to turn it on. Got a little LED, so it's on. Well, the fan kicked on, which is not what I wanted. Well, actually, it's 90 degrees. Why is it so hot? Okay, I have something wired wrong because it's the fan's running, but it shouldn't be. I can hear this thing switching, but the fan's not switching. So the fan has got power all the time. Turn it off and rethink this. What did I do wrong? All right. What do we got? A common power, normally open. Power. Negative. That should be right. Turn this on, it shouldn't come on, but it does. All right, let me figure out what's going on here. Should be on the normally open because I want it to close. What's going on here? Power coming in. Switch. That part's working. DC positive. Got a little problem here. I'm trying to figure it out. So when I turn this on, the fan's not being controlled right now by the by this little switch. So it's just on all the time, which it shouldn't be. So I got positive. All right. I think it might be because this is something's shorting out on the back of this little metal can. So let me see if I can pry it off and see if that works if I take it off. It's kind of sketchy here. I might break it. All right, I'm gonna turn the power off. The hot glue, you can heat it up and it loosens it up. So I'm gonna just heat up the back of this can. See, things don't always work out perfectly. So I'm wondering if, there we go. Okay. So now that I have it off, I'm going to test it to see if it's working. Turn it on. Oh, turn on the power. Okay. Try this again. All right. I think that was it. It was shorting out on the metal. It's causing problems. Let's test it again. I'm gonna warm it up until it switches. There we go. Okay, now it works. Fan comes on. Now cool it down. Fan goes off. Okay. So I got to find something to put on the bottom of this to insulate it a little bit. And this should work. So put this on the back, and then I'll glue this to the back. That'll work. Don't need much here. A little bit. Ooh, it's bubbly. All right, let's try this again. Now we gotta wait for it to cool. Probably test it. Okay. Okay, kicked on, working. Have anybody new? Let me know if you want to know what I'm working on, if you're just joining. Deb says, what are you doing? We're just hanging out here in the shop. And cool, it worked. So if you're just joining me like Deb, I thought I'd just do a live stream here in the shop while I was working on this little project. That's the empty. So I'm just going to put this little switch. I can't remember where I got this little switch. It was from a computer or something, but it's an instantaneous switch, so you got to press it in. So the idea is I press it in, and it'll turn on a little light, a little LED in that compartment, so I can see stuff, because it's dark in there. Just little blue lights from the Victron controllers, which is cool, but sometimes you want to see a little bit more than that. I'm just pressing that rubber. There we go. So we got this little switch in the front here. And when it's powered, should work just fine. So let's, so now I got this little LED. So David said, how are you setting the temperature? So this little switch has a little adjustment right there. It's just a little resistor, and I can just turn it to where I want it to cut off. Now, when I'll show you how I did that, but I used this little temperature probe on my meter to figure out the temperature. So, for example, right now it's put it on temperature mode. So right now in here it's 76 degrees. Right now I have it set to about 90 degrees. So when that compartment gets 90 degrees, it'll kick on this fan that I'm going to mount to one of the vent holes. All right, so let's wire up this light. Where did I put it? There it is. It's already got a little sticky on the back, so I'm just going to stick it to this thing here, this little switch. It's way too much wire, I think. So I need to take the positive. It's going to go to the switch, which I need another splice. So all right, and the negative, I'm just going to wire to the negative. Wait, so the other positive is going to go here. Getting a little tight. Okay. Now the other negative, I'm just going to wire that to here. But first, let me stick this down. I don't think this is going to get hot, so I'm just going to stick it right to the top of this little switch. Okay, there we go. Right there. And the negative wire, I'm going to put to this negative bus here. And when I'm done, it should all just magically work. All right, so I got positive going to the switch. You have to bend that around. It's kind of a lot of stuff for this compartment. Ooh, a spider. All right, I'm just trying to cram all this stuff in here and close it up. It ain't pretty, but it doesn't have to be. Oh, the switch is coming open. All right. Here we go. Ready to see it work? Let's see if it works. Turn on the power. So this will turn on the little sensor in here. This little switch. Okay, little red light. It means it's working. And this, turn on that light. Pretty cool, huh? Should light up my compartment. If I turn off this, you can see I'll make it a little dark. Yeah, it should be enough to light up that compartment. It's fine. All right. So, turn this back on. I think we're pretty much set up here. I mean, it's kind of, it ain't too pretty looking, but I got all that stuff crammed in this little box. And it's just a matter of kind of tidying up these wires, and then I have to mount the fan and run a power cable in to connect to my battery bus, and then I'll be good to go. So let's give this a try. Let's see. Ain't pretty, but it don't have to be. All right, I'll drink a beer. All right, so here's a little test. So for those of you who haven't seen this yet, you got this little temperature controlled switch in this little box, and just got it on Amazon for about, I think it was about $10, pretty cheap. It's adjustable. Here's what it looks like. I have another one here. I'm going to do this for another compartment. But it looks just like this. It comes like this. It's just this little board, and it has this little 2-foot wire with this temperature sensor on the end. So you just mount this wherever you want it to read the temperature. And then you can adjust this little resistor right here to the temperature that you want. And I'll show you how I adjusted it. So I wanted it to kick on at about 90 degrees. So what I did is I hooked up my meter to read temperature. So my meter came with this little temperature probe. Right now you can see it's 78 degrees. If I put my hand on it, it should start to climb a little bit. See 80. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do here is now that I have this on, you can see this little red LED is lit up in there. And you can't see that. I have the light. So now that I have this on, it's ready to go. It's ready to kick on when the temperature hits about 90 degrees. Now it's not digital, so you just have to kind of use the meter together with this to adjust it. Now let's get this out of the way here. so we can watch it. So I got the temperature sensor and the meter temperature probe here. I'm just gonna put my hand around it to warm it up, blow on it a little bit. It gets about 90, it should kick the fan on. There we go. Oh, just don't stick your finger in it. Pretty cool, huh? So you can, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a little blue LED in there now. So the little blue LED kicks on when the switch is activated. Okay, now I'm still blowing on it. So right now I'll let go and the temperature will start to drop. I'll just put it in front of the fan actually, and the fan will cool it down, and it just turned off. So when it gets to below 90 degrees, now it's like 88, it'll cut off. So we'll do it again. And you can just adjust that little resistor until you get it just right. Okay, the fan's on. Feels good. Actually, it's blowing out this side. Oh, there we go. I had it backwards. I don't want to hold it. Okay, just let's cool it down until it shuts off. Okay, just shut off. And it's turning off. And that's it. Yeah, it does work pretty good. So I'm gonna I'll probably paint this black or something. But what I'm gonna do is it's obviously dark outside, so I can't mount it in the RV. But I need to put when I'm not using it, I can just turn it off. That's why I wanted to switch. So I'll turn it off. Off goes the red light. I'll turn off my power supply. And now I have my positive and negative power cable here. Get all this stuff out of the way. It's probably confusing everybody. So I got my temperature probe, temperature sensor, this, my fan. And what I'll do here is mount a couple of little wire thingies on the end terminal thing, so I can connect it to my bus bar. Let's do that right now. So I can probably find some. I think I'll use a couple of these. 2 of them. All right. So I've already kind of soldered and stripped the ends of these. So I can go ahead and just crimp them down. There's one. Other one. All right. So all I have to do is hook these to my my battery bus bar, which has plenty of spots for these, positive and negative, and then mount this to the top of that compartment, and I should be good to go. All right. So there's my temperature controlled switch and our little hangout here. And probably mount one in my battery bay as well. I have a second one and a bunch of fans. So a lot of this stuff is just scrap, extra pieces from old computers, or this switch I think came from a computer. This switch came from a computer. All the wires came from a computer. This little LED light I bought at Walmart, pretty cheap, and the temperature control switch got from Walmart. Got from Amazon. Fan came out of an old PC. And this can is actually from a fidget spinner. So, funny story is actually that my daughter bought me a fidget spinner. And the reason was, a little while back, I was over at her place, and they had a fidget spinner sitting on the desk. And I'm like, I don't understand what's the deal with the fidget spinners. They're like, hey, fidget spinners are kind of old news now. They're not as popular anymore. But I'm like, I never really got it. Why was everybody using the fidget spinner? So we talked about this for a while. And I realized that the whole time I was asking her about fidget spinners, I was playing with the damn thing. So turns out she bought me a fidget spinner. And I do mess around with it. I get it now. So this is the little can that it came in, and I kept the can because I said, hey, maybe I could use it for something. And guess what? I will. And I did. Kirk, will I make a video of the install? Maybe. I might make I was going to do a video about just this in general, like keeping compartments cool. And I was working on this just now. I thought I'd just do a live stream. But yeah, if I do a video about this, I'll definitely show the install. But okay, well, I think that's gonna probably wrap it up, guys. I just wanted to experiment with this and see if we do this live stream thing from the shop, and I hope you didn't get bored. I know people were dropping in and out, but a few of you stuck with me. All right, Mary, I'll try to do it again. Try to do it more regular, but it's hard for me to schedule this kind of stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. Good night. Take care.